My name is Liku Amadi, award-winning attorney and founder of Anasa Law Firm, where I work with coaches, consultants, and expert service providers to help them establish a solid legal foundation for business, not just to protect themselves, but to help them get to the next level of business. And that's what we're going to be talking about in today's live. First and foremost, disclaimer. I am a California licensed attorney. However, anything I say in this live is not legal advice. It is legal information for educational purposes only. If you need legal advice, go ahead and engage with an attorney one-on-one, such as myself, to get the help that you need. Disclaimer number two. I am a mom and the baby is here. So you might hear him in the background and we're just going to roll with it because honestly, he's just co-signing every single thing that I'm saying. So make sure you say hello if you hear him in the background and say hello if you are live. Let me know you're live, where you joining from. And if you're catching the replay, go ahead and comment replay. So this next level of business, it looks different for everyone, right? And I always say that there's legal all up and through your business. And of course, as the attorney, that's something that I'm going to say, right? And that's something that I notice when I'm working with my clients. So from entity formation, right? When you're thinking about even starting the business and you're like, oh no, should I form an LLC? When should I do it? What kind of business entity? Should it be a corporation, right? To bringing on your first clients and how to deal with them, having bad clients and client issues and refunds and chargebacks and hiring and trademarks and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? There's legal all up and through your business. So it makes sense that when you are thinking about getting to that next level, whatever that next level of business is, there will be legal that you need to deal with. And in fact, dealing with the legal upfront, making sure it's taken care of, will get you to that next level faster. Yes, that's most definitely the way of doing business. Hey, Miriam, thank you for joining over from LinkedIn. Make sure you take some notes because I'm going to make sure that y'all get these gems that I'm about to drop. And like I said, the next level of business looks different for everyone, right? Depending on the type of business that you're running, how you want it to grow and expand, how you want it to scale. Maybe you already have an exit strategy in place, right? So what is that next level of business? Drop it in the comments if you are live. Maybe it's going to be on this list of things that I have here to give you some examples, right? So hiring a team is very common for people, right? Whether that's a VA or, just some contracted help, whether that's employees, volunteers, interns. When you are hiring people to work with your business, contracts, right? You need to have those employee or contractor agreements to make sure that number one, your team is doing what they're supposed to do, right? You're managing that working relationship between you and the people who are serving your business. Those contracts are going to dictate what they can do for you, what they're supposed to do for you, how they do it, any boundaries, how they get paid, and most importantly, how you protect your intellectual property and any confidential or valuable information in your business, right? So when you're expanding, if that next level involves a team hiring, having people for help, that definitely involves contracts. And I think y'all can agree with that. Another way of leveling up, if your next level involves starting to protect your brand or continuing to protect your brand with trademarks or copyrights or confidentiality agreements, NDAs, we're already hearing contracts in that sense, right? You need to make sure that your intellectual property is being protected. And the first level of that is getting like your trademark registrations, your copyright registrations, those actual things that will protect it, right? But enforcing that protection includes contracts. That includes contracts. Again, when you are dealing with various people who are going to have access to your intellectual property, like your team, right? Your team is going to have access to your IP, whether it's your frameworks or your logos and graphics, those branding features of your business, right? Your team is going to have access to those things. So you need to put boundaries around how they can use them. Your clients, you are using your intellectual property with your clients or the people who sign up for your webinars and your events, right? All of these people who interact with your intellectual property, whether you are sharing it full-fledged, right? Like your business logo. Obviously, people can see it on display, or in part, right? Like maybe part one of a framework versus the whole framework. Some people you are sharing the whole framework with, like your clients or people you're collaborating with. Either way, contract terms are what protect your intellectual property when you are putting it out there. So if your next level of business involves protecting your intellectual property, remember to keep contracts in mind, most especially when you are sharing that IP with other people, or there are other people creating and co-creating in that intellectual property with you. And that's something that we can go on, a few videos about, but I'll leave it at that, and I'll let y'all let me know if that's something that you want me to go in on deeper. Number 3, adding digital products to your business. Now, this is one where people say you don't need a contract. And I have had the experience of hearing multiple people say that. There's one coach in particular, I won't say their name, but this coach has made multiple 8-figures selling digital products, and not having a contract or terms and conditions. Like, they don't think it's necessary because they haven't had any problems. I doubt the second part, but they don't think it's necessary. And the fact that other people are coming to me saying, well, so and so, said it's been cool, they've made this much money and haven't had any problems, and red flag. My thing about digital products, or anything that you sell to people without directly communicating with them, that is, it's even more important to have those contract terms, right? And in this case, it's usually terms and conditions. When you go purchase a digital product, whether it's an ebook, a course, maybe a membership, you have that terms and conditions, or you should have that terms and conditions box that you check, and that lays out the terms as to what the digital products are for, how to use it, right? The purpose, any disclaimers, refund policies, all the terms around you making that transaction, right? Between the business and the customer or the client, whatever you call them in that instance. Those terms should be laid out so it's very clear what that transaction is about. Because you're not working with someone one-on-one, you don't really have that opportunity to clarify or explain things, which is why I think it's critical that terms and conditions be extremely explicit, just clear as day, so there's no question as to what you're doing in the terms and conditions, what boundaries you're laying out, what duties you have, what duties you're imparting on the person who's buying the digital products, right? So digital products are definitely a way to, that's another intellectual property thing we can talk about, but they're definitely a more and more popular way for you to expand your business. You create something once and then you sell it, right? You sell it like clockwork. However, those terms and conditions do need to be in place in order for you to do that seamlessly, sell it in your sleep, whatever you want to call it. But most especially because you are still in a business relationship with the person buying that digital product, even though they're not working with you one-on-one. So please don't sleep on the terms and conditions for your digital products. Another one, new service offers. If your next level in business involves or includes a brand new service, or expanding your services, maybe from one-to-one work to group coaching or workshops and presentations, whatever those new services are, they are different than the services that you are already providing, meaning they are different than the contract that you're using for those old services. So in this case, your contract either may need to be updated, or you may need a brand new contract, depending on what these new services or offers are. I think I talked about in my last slide that we don't need to be using the same contract for multiple services, because as each service is different, they require different terms, different language, different boundaries, different conditions, different policies. And we want to make sure that if we are giving someone a contract to sign, that it supports our facilitation of these services, that it protects the business, it protects us, right, as individuals, and it also protects our clients. That way, you and the clients are on the same page, and it's easier for you to have a seamless relationship. Contracts, 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 definitely with those new service offers. So if you didn't catch my last live, please go ahead. It is on my page on LinkedIn, it's on my page on Instagram. Make sure you watch that because I talk about the differences and like why you need to have different contracts and terms for different services. And similarly, number 5, more clients, right? When you're bringing in more clients, and I'll also add higher ticket clients, right? To those businesses who are elevating, working with people at larger sums, you need to have contracts in place for those. And maybe you already do, but when you're bringing in more clients, recognize that, number one, there's always more risk. There's always more risk when you're bringing in more business. That's just the nature of doing business. But number 2, you are collecting more and more client data, right? And these clients' experiences are client data. So that's what I mean. Every client that comes through your systems and operations, receives your service, right? They leave you a review. That's a whole client experience. Number one, that you can just take and, see, what worked, what didn't work, what can we improve here, what did I not like about working with this client in this way, or they had these conditions, or there's just so much that you can get from one client experience that changes the way that you do business or facilitate your service. And that's something that needs to be reflected in the contract. So if you are bringing in more clients, whether it's in a group dynamic or you just have the capacity to take on a ton of clients, or however it is that you serve people, when you're bringing in more of them, recognize that those are each client's experiences from which there is data that you can collect that will improve your contracts for the better, because there's a ton of feedback there, right? And then that second part to that is serving higher ticket clientele, right? So when you raise your prices, when they get to these high ticket price points, and high ticket is subjective, so I'll let you define that within your service suite. But when you get to that point, recognize that you are taking on a larger sum of money, number one, which means a larger responsibility, right? Your clients likely have more expectations of you. Yes, it's easier for you to sell this service at a higher price point, but with that comes higher expectations and demands, and all the more reason for you to make sure that you have a contract that can support those things. And again, having a contract that protects not only you, but your clients as well, these business owners that you are serving, or maybe in their personal capacity. Either way, they're investing a larger amount, so they want to make sure that investment is protected. They want to make sure they get that bang for their buck. They want to make sure their client experience is seamless, right? They're investing at a higher level for a reason. So you need a contract that is updated or brand new or refreshed in order to meet that client at that level of service that you said you were going to provide them. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? If so, drop a fire emoji when you're watching this, either live or on replay, because we, again, can't take the same contract and just use it for everything. I'm sure you can understand that when you're working with clients one-on-one versus in a group setting versus for, a higher ticket, or even maybe a VIP day, maybe you're facilitating a workshop for multiple people. Like, these things are all different, and those differences need to be captured in the contract, because it is the details that can make or break our client relationship. So we don't want to sleep on those. Number 6, if your next level in business involves partnerships, collaborations, right? Influencer or affiliate relationships, those things where you're working with other people. You need contracts. You need contracts. And this is another one of those where we should just, go deeper in a live. But when you're working with other people, don't play about your business. Do not play about your business. These are people that we usually think are great or we're friendly with, and that may very well be the case, but it's much different in doing business. And I'm sure a lot of you can attest to that, to people that you've worked with, and whether it's turned out great or not. But when you're working with other people, we need to have contracts that support and guide those relationships, right? First and foremost, so that people know what their responsibilities are. Everybody needs to know what they're doing, right? Whether you're contributing 10% of the work and the other person is doing 90, whether it's 50-50, whether someone is in charge of payments, another person operations or marketing, you want to make sure that everyone's roles and responsibilities in that partnership is clearly defined. And when I say partnership, I'm talking about collaborations, affiliate relationships, right? Anything where you're working with another business or business owner. That's what I mean by partnerships when I'm talking about this in this live, although all of those are different things, right? But the bottom line is that you want to have a contract to specifically state what is in each of those relationships. Your contracts, like we talked about earlier, also protect your intellectual property. So if you're sharing intellectual property with people that you are partnering with in business, if you're creating new intellectual property, there are a lot of rights that need to be defined, boundaries around use and limitations, and who has the right to do what and when and for how long, and whether you're going to get paid and how much and when you're going to get paid, and what happens if you split. There are so many intricacies in just that part alone when it comes to collaborations and working with other people, especially in the online business space where we have this content and intellectual property all over the place. So your partnerships, collaborations, if you are expanding your business via that method, if that is your next level of business, if that's your current level in business, then you need to make sure that you have contracts that support those relationships to clearly define what you're doing, what your responsibilities are, clearly just lay out everything about the intellectual property, any dispute resolution terms. And that's important because things do happen. We do have issues, right? How are you going to resolve them? Anything around payment, communications, all of that needs to be detailed. And you don't want to work with someone and then get into a circumstance where you don't know what to do and your contract doesn't have the space to guide you, right? Your contract is objective versus each of you, however many there are in that collaboration or partnership, coming at each other's necks because you feel like you're in the right, okay? Number 7, and this will be the last one, is increase visibility via speaking. If your next level in business includes you getting on stages or being live like this in more communities, speaking about your expertise and motivational speaking, whatever it is, you need contracts. Yet again, a speaker contract, either one that you provide yourself that lays out your terms, conditions, expectations, requirements, all up in that contract, or you need contracts to be reviewed when you receive them from other people. Oftentimes people give us a speaker contract and say, hey, you're going to come speak for us. Here are our terms and conditions. Go ahead and, read it, sign it, initial here, but you don't want to be just signing off on anything, right? Which is why it's important to have those speaker agreements or any agreements we've talked about thus far reviewed by an attorney, because that attorney will know what your interests are, what needs to be protected, what your goals are, right? And that way they can negotiate on your behalf or point out certain things that may be red flags that you thought was cool just from reading them, but in the long run, it may impact you in ways that you can't see right now, right? So those are 7 things I just listed as examples of what your next level in business is and how they require contracts. So you could probably think right now, if there's something that I haven't included on this list, you're thinking about it like, this is my next level, whether it's next quarter, next month, or you're about to launch something new. Here is where a contract is necessary, or here's where I need to review my contracts, or I'm about to do X, Y, and Z. So, I need to have my contracts tightened up. That's something that is, again, all up and through your business as you are doing business now, and most especially as you level up, because whatever that level up looks like for you, whatever that long game plan looks like for you, you want to make sure that as you, as a business owner, do the work and the growth and get your business in order to reach that level, that legal is included in that, because not only are you protecting yourself now, but you are building a solid legal foundation to launch from into that next level, right? Imagine trying to launch off something that, got holes in it, it's rickety, it's cracked. You're either going to fall through, fall down or not make that leap to the next level at all, right? That's what it means to have a solid legal foundation, is something that can support you in that jump. And contracts is often, almost always involved in each of those level ups. I draft contracts for people for $3,000. When you work with me one on one, we will make sure that your contract is thorough enough to get you to that next level. When we sit down, the first thing we are going to do, let's talk about where you are. What issues are you facing? Maybe you're not facing issues. That's great. What are your goals, right? What are your current contracts looking like? What do you want to accomplish? What is the situation? Gathering all that data so that we can draft a contract that fits your current needs, something that helps propel you to the next level versus you walking around with a contract or a set of contracts that you've done yourself and are kind of side eyeing, like, yeah, I mean, it meets my needs. Like, it checks the box. I give them a contract, right? Knowing in the back of your head that it's something that needs to be elevated, something that you want to be taken care of, right? We make sure that you have that contract that makes you feel like a sigh of relief, right? A walking sigh of relief. Because in reality, what I've seen is when you don't have your legal ducks in a row, that's something that I don't want to say eats at you, but that's something that, it impacts when you're trying to say stuff with your chest. You're trying to make deals and then get into collabs. Shout out to the collab queen. Hey, Deanna. You're trying to do business and be able, to stand and represent your business very thoroughly, high quality, high caliber. But whole time you're looking at your contracts, they're supposed to protect you and you don't know if they do, but you're still giving them to other people. Like, that's not a good feeling to have, right? To kind of be like, you want to be able to say with your chest that, yes, we trust that these contracts are protecting us and protecting this business relationship. Give us your $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 so we can take care of you, right? It's a different type of security to know that you are protected in that manner and you can walk around with your chest out knowing that you are protected. So, if you are interested in having your contracts updated, revamped, custom tailored to fit your business needs, you can send me a DM and inquire more about my contract drafting services. I will leave the link in the comments. And think about, again, what is your next level in business? What is that space, that caliber that you're trying to reach for not just your clients, but the way that you do your business and where you want to see your business? What is the gap between, where you are now and how you want to get there? And I promise you, whatever that next level is, run this replay back and listen to the 7 examples that I said. But whatever that next level is, it is going to involve contracts. So talk to your girl to make sure that we have those in order as we close out 2023 in about 6 months. All right, happy Tuesday to y'all. I don't know what you're doing to celebrate. If you are celebrating, be safe. Me, myself, I'm about to eat something. I'm about to cuddle with my son before he falls asleep on me, say what's up to my husband, and we about to chill. And I will see y'all on the next